Like you got rid of all of your stuff and then you just bought brand new stuff, right?
Yes, literally just kept everything away. I learned a long time ago to literally carry nothing if I was going to be moving around. So Sema was living out of backpacks, and we got 6 suitcases, moved across the country, ended up in Boca Raton. And we're thinking about living in Miami for a minute. And by the time we got from the Miami airport to our first Airbnb, which is a really nice Airbnb, top floor, both of us were like, we're never living here, ever. By the time we got to the place, dude.
It's just too much traffic, too much huff and puff, too much hustle and bustle. Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up in the city. I lived in San Francisco for a long time. Cannot stand it. Brought back too many memories. I like the chillness of Boca Raton, man. And I can always get on Miami, you know?
That's so cool. That's so awesome. Like what's been weird is like ever since like the come up that happened with like you and everybody else that I'm part of, like so many people are moving to Florida. Like either it's term of taxes or like midlife retirement or something. But Arnie is here, Yura is here, Tanner is here, Andrew Cruzio was here for a while, Steph was here, Sema is here, JR is in Florida sometimes. But it's crazy how it's like all turning out. So do you physically meet up with all the other marketers and things like that, or like does everybody keep like their distance?
To an extent, yeah. I got some more people: Scott Thiemann, A-Rod, my buddy Anthony DiClemente, if anyone knows him. Yep. JR's looking to move out here. Actually, I talk to JR all the time. He's moving to Boca. He's in Tallahassee right now, right? Yep. But we do meetups. I don't really leave the house. I work a lot, so the quarantine's been nice for me, you know, because it's like no one questions why I don't leave the house anymore. I get invited to stuff a lot.
I was social distancing before it was cool, guys. Okay, like I haven't left my house for 7 days, and now it's okay. Yeah.
I spent 8 years from the ages of 17 till 25, drunk, high, hanging out with people. Got a lot of that in. We'll still go out every once in a while, you know. But it's all about building right now. But yeah, we meet up. It's dude, and honestly, Florida's the best, bro. I'm right on the water. I just watch a boat fly by and someone's wakeboarding, yep. And it's beautiful out here, like all the time.
It's absolutely fantastic. I think what's interesting, by the way, about your backstory is like you didn't come like minted out of like a marketing school where you had everything set up for you and like took it. Like you hit rock bottom and then had to build it up from scratch, right? And I don't think a lot of people in this group know your story. You hinted at it, but yeah. Can you tell us like what it was like? Because you started like negative or at the bottom. Like weren't you like playing poker to pay rent or something like that?
Yeah, man. So there's 2 parts to the story. Number one was a decade ago, starting with DUIs. There was a point where I was arrested 3 times in about 18 months, mainly alcohol related at that point, some drug stuff as well. DUI was really kind of the culmination. Thank God didn't hurt anybody else or anything like that. So that was a big wake-up call, right? And then I got into big personal development, Tony Robbins, all that type of stuff. Thank God a fraternity brother at the time handed me a book by Tony Robbins and then another by Eckhart Tolle. Completely changed my whole life, became obsessed with personal development. Fortunately, got a job in pro sports, all that good stuff. Worked in the NBA for the Sacramento Kings. Got a job at Tampa. That's how I felt. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's how I fell in love with South Florida. Was selling cold tickets, just selling tickets, hardcore, best experience ever. It was the worst and the best. Yeah. Like you guys might think that it would be easy to sell tickets for a pro sports team, but you try selling tickets for an 0-14 football team to pissed off football fans in the South. Like you think docs are mean on the phone? Try calling a pissed off football fan who thinks you're playing freaking linebacker out there. And I'm like, dude, like I don't play. Like, sorry, you don't want to come to the game. It's all right. You know what I mean? So did that for a while. Horribly underpaid. Within 2 weeks of seeing a W-2 in 2014, I think everyone can really relate to this who's in this group. I saw my W-2. It was $43,000. I actually have it framed still. And I was a #1 salesman for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization in my department. And I made $43,000. That includes commissions. Right. And I had been coaching people to get sales jobs with $50,000 bases right before that. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Just because in sports, it was done. My business partner at the agency at the time was a good friend. He flew out to the beach. We got hammered. He's like, I need a sales guy. I know online marketing. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Within 3 weeks, moved across the country to Utah. And the first year was miserable, man. What you didn't understand is it sucks. It's hard. I didn't know anything. We didn't have groups like this either. I didn't know about this stuff in 2015. So for anyone watching, the best resources I had for getting started was like the Moz community, which is just horrible at client attraction and all that stuff. We were trying to do SEO. My business partner didn't know anything about Facebook at the time because it was still new. Website. First year we sold like nothing. I was a walking digital marketer. I had my suit on. I would go to all the BNI meetings. And that's what's like, man, guys, it might not work right away if you don't get rich out the gate, right?
Yep.
And you're right. At the time, the way that I was surviving was I charged $2,000 to a credit card, and I was playing DraftKings and FanDuel.
Damn.
FanDuel.
Damn.
Basically praying every night that LeBron James wouldn't miss a free throw, and I'd lose my whole bankroll, and I'd try to eke out like $1,000 a month.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the backstory. And then in March 2016, we had something that went crazy. But I could talk about that, or we could talk about whatever you want. But it was hard. The first year, I got told no over and over and over and over and over again. Yep. I was trying to sell everything to everyone. I had no niche. But I look back on that so fondly. I always believed I'm going to be able to make it. So
was that kind of like where you cut your teeth and you earned your stripes, and like what did Thomas Edison, like 999 ways to not create a light bulb, and then one way works, and then it just like you rocket shit up, right?
100%, man. Between that and making 40,000 cold calls over
that's so many.
We still hear 40,000 cold calls for the Bucks and the Kings, literally 150 dials a day. But yes, we've got it in. Like, what drives me nuts? And marketers are our own worst fucking enemy. And the worst enemies of people who are just getting started, right? And I'd be curious, let me know, or let Jeff know. I don't know exactly where everyone's going to be in this group, but if you're under 10K a month, under 20K a month, marketers are your worst enemy, because a ton of people out there saying, we're just going to automate your business and you're going to make $1 million next week. And you're going to be able to start a marketing agency and not have to learn anything about marketing and understand about business. And it's just like, dude, like, I'm all about systems and operations, but like, if you think it's going to be this easy, I got a bridge for you, right? Like, I saw literally an ad that's like, we're going to build you an agency that you can easily scale to 100K a month. They weren't even trying to say that they had to build it themselves or teach them, which is one thing. We're going to build it for you, just hand it to you. It's going to do 100K a month. Like, that's an ad that's running on Facebook right now.
Yep.
Freaking blows me away. So yes, it's going to be hard, guys. It's going to be hard to sell some business owners, and you might have to learn something and pick up a skill, but it's the best thing you could ever do is learn how to get a new customer, sell something, and market, because you never have to worry about eating again and putting food on the table if you figure that out.
I think what was really interesting, and I remember seeing this at Billy Jean's when he spoke at Dan Henry's, like, the number one skill set will always be finding and getting customers and then selling them a thing that solves their problem. And that really changed my life, because up to that point, I was the hustle and grind. I was the entrepreneur. I was wearing the logos that made me part of like the cool kids club, like my varsity letters or whatever, like tribe that I want to be part of. And that was making it about me instead of making it about like my clients and my customers and solving their problems in exchange for money. In the first 90 days of my agency experience, I sold a grand total of $0, like zero things. Because I was telling everybody like, yo, I do Facebook ads. You want Facebook ads? Like I was so proud of the fact that I could like click 5 or 6 things on Facebook and then look up a course. Like, I really wasn't willing to transform into the person and get my brain flexible enough to learn a skill set that my clients actually wanted, which was client getting skills, right? It just so happened that we use Facebook to do that, right? And it really blew my mind when he talked about that. And is that what happened to you in March of 2016, or was that something different?
That's it, man. I learned a very simple thing. And this is the most important thing that, really you could ever say in business. A business is not about you. It is about solving problems. That is the way the global economy works. Is people wake up in the morning and they buy something to solve their problems. And that is as simple as buying toilet paper because you ran out, or you want to stock up and take it all liquidated. I don't know what people are doing recently. Or buying an agency to help them get new customers. We solve problems. And the more specific and the bigger problem you solve, the more money you're going to get. And I'm going to give you exactly what really blew us up. And we went from 0 to $1 million in 10 months and 1.7 million in our first 12 months after I figured this out.
Yep.
The specific you can get with the prompts, okay? We got a lot of Facebook ads people in here. I was talking to a chiropractor one day because, of course, I went out to chiropractors like everyone does.
Yep.
And they told me about a specific patient he was after. And he was after a patient that he could do that had arthritis of the knee, right? And that he could do a treatment on it called hyaluronic acid injections. Mm-hmm. And he talked about this treatment. And he's like, yeah, man, the government pays for it. It's insurance covered. Medicare covers it. Easy to sell, high margins, great for the patient, all this stuff. And I'm hearing him and I'm like, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So after I got off the call with him, I was like, yeah, I had no idea if I could get him patient. I'm like, yeah, I'll send you knee pain patients in Medicare easy. We'll just put up an ad for 65 plus and hope we got something. Yeah. And it worked really good. But what was really powerful about this was I got to thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. If hyaluronic acid works for him, it probably works for every other chiropractor in the country.
Yep.
And I literally, so the way we blew up was I figured out that these guys wanted this type of patient. I knew how to get them those leads for it. And I literally went through and I searched, I would go to Google. This was before like I knew about scrapers, or I mean, man, I wish we had the tools today. It's so easy to market today, guys. It's like 4 years. That's what's crazy. I sound like I'm old, right?
Yeah.
Like 4 years.
Back in the day before we had the internet. Let me tell you how I ran internet ads, okay? Yeah.
But man, time changes quick. But I literally looked for everybody who was offering hyaluronic acid on their website or arthritis of the knee. And I found all of them. And guess what? When I'm sending cold emails, because I know a lot of people here send cold emails or LinkedIn, my cold emails say, do you want more hyaluronic acid knee injection patients?
Yep.
Everyone else's cold email said, do you want more customers, or do you want more back cracks or more $21 discounts?
Yep.
Guess what they called? I got to a point where I was literally, I tracked this, 1.5 out of every 20 cold emails I would send, I would also attach a little video, a custom video to it. I did this the old school custom way, not necessarily spam, was becoming a client at $2,000 a month, and they loved it. So that's how we freaking blew up, man. Solving one very specific problem. Understand, guys, it is all about solving problems. That's it.
So you hinted at something that's like massively important, that Fortune 50 consultancy, which is called knowledge transfer. Hey, we solved this problem with this client over here. And then you go knowledge transfer shopping. Hey, would you like these results? Would you like these results? Would you like these results? And you end up getting like super duper specific about solving that one specific problem, which allows your clients to be happier, and your back end systems just like become copy and paste, like you're producing like Amazon. Like you just ship packages all day long. You're doing the same exact thing. So it makes your back end a lot easier, right?
100%, man. Productize your service for a different year. It's so key. One of my biggest mistakes I made that first year was I would sell anybody anything that I thought they might want. I had no idea I was actually solving them a problem, right? Productize their service. And if you sell one package, it's easier fulfillment. It's easier to sell. It's easier to get to know your market. There's so many things about it. So cut off all the fluff and sell one thing that solves a problem. You don't have to be everything to everyone.
So let's say that I'm starting out brand new, right? And I don't have the idea or the tools or the case studies to be like, hey, I solved this one problem. So like, how do I go to a client and be like, hey, can I solve a problem for you? Like how do I get to a point where I have that knowledge transfer, that case study, that proof of like, hey, we've done this, I want to do it for 10 other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's a great question. And a lot of this depends on your market. If you have anybody, if you have any connections, if you know anything about sales, how good you are at sales. But what I want to do is just go back and pretend that you're horrible at sales. You've never collected money from anybody before. And I want to go to and say that you have no connections and no marketplace, right? So look, here's the deal. And I was just rereading Russell Brunson's books again. When you're just getting started, you've never collected money from anybody, you've never sold anything, you have no confidence in what you're doing, I am a huge fan of free trials. We got to over $1 million running free trials. So go out there, tell them, offer to run for somebody to get free customers for them, right? Whatever niche it is, right? Pick 3 niches, start emailing them, LinkedIn, and whatever tool you want to use on that. And when you get them on the phone, you got to look at this as not just an opportunity to get a sale and get some reps in, okay? You need to dig deep.
Yeah.
What are your biggest problems? What are the types of customers that you want? Why didn't your last 17 marketing companies that you've been with in the last year work? Why are you bouncing around so much? Did all leads really suck? By the way, they don't, and we should talk about that at some point. But really dig in and use those conversations about it. And then from there, if you do have friends or family, ask for people in the market, right? Typically, if we're going after local businesses, we know somebody who knows somebody who's a financial advisor or insurance agent or lawyer. Get them on the phone. I literally ran this process in late 2018 for remodelers. I reached out to my network, and this was because I had no case studies or no testimonies or nothing. And I actually ran this in one of my programs and ran ads for it. We closed deals. And it was after remodelers, complete opposite of doctors. I had nothing, right? And so what did I do? I reached out and I found some remodelers I could talk to through a network of friends. Didn't really try to sell anything. I put up a lead ad on Facebook, spent a couple $100, got them on the phone, told them, hey, I'm going to get you leads. And I went for the sale because, again, confidence is a big factor in all of this when you're just getting started, and was able to make a bunch of money with it. But it started with me doing some research and asking questions. Yeah.
So your number one thing, be like, hey guys, if you don't know how to get started and get like your thing, like the thing you can solve, is just start having conversations with people and say like, what problem do you need solved? What hasn't worked for you before? Why did 18 other marketing agencies just totally bomb for you, right? I did the same exact thing with my current niche, which I can't share because I definitely learned not to share that in a public group. Thank you, everybody. But like I literally called up like my target industry, my target niche, and I talked to 10 of them on the phone. It's like, hey, I know you're running ads. I know you're running marketing. I'm student marketing. I need 30 seconds and we're done. What's the number one thing you're looking for when it comes to your ads? Thanks so much. Bye. That was it. 10 of those people gave me the same answer. Guess what? That's the direct ad, the direct copy, and my direct offer. Right?
Shocking, bro. Shocking. Like, oh, I love that you brought that up because it's so true. Number one, it shows that you're never too big to go out and do that when you enter a new niche. Mm-hmm. We were running a multi-million-dollar agency when I did the same thing. I didn't presume that I know anything. Could I have assumed that there's similar problems in all local businesses? Yeah, there's core fundamental problems with everyone, but we need to speak their language. Yeah. One of the big reasons why we've been able to be so successful at BTOP for so long, and even now to this day, is because I've always been able to iterate my offer, my message to the marketplace, starting with the hyaluronic acid thing. Then I moved into patients on demand, and I was one of the first people that I know of who advertised productizing their service. And then we moved into just show up and close. And then we moved into eliminate no-shows, right? You know why I built a whole branding funnel? This is where one of our 2 comic clubs came from, was a brand, eliminate no-shows, and I built this whole branding package. Guess what? Because everyone was complaining about no-shows. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go say I have the answer to no-shows. We're going to build this branding thing. And guess what? The ads worked. And then it was building a full real practice. And now it's the COVID response. So I mean, I've iterated and built like 15 different front-end offers and funnels to pull people into my world. And I'm always changing my product based on the response to what I'm seeing in the marketplace, because I always got to stay ahead. And by the way, that is a massive problem right now for everybody.
Yep.
Same offer at the same price point to the same group of people in the same way with no differentiation. You're going down, like not going. You can get a couple clients, but it's not going to last. I don't harsh, right? So go ahead.
So what was interesting is like I call that the offer treadmill. And like way back in the day, like 4 or 5 years ago, leads was enough. Get a company leads, you could stand up from the marketplace, stand up from your competition, somebody would say yes to that. Then it was customer opportunities, very John Loger style, which is like a little bit more qualified, like name, number, and email, and there's more stuff that you're doing to nurture that lead. You're not just saying, hey, good luck, see you later, goodbye, doing soap opera sequences, retargeting, phone calls, things like that. And then it became booked appointments. And that's where the market was 6 months ago. Now we're seeing people on the cutting edge are saying you're going to get people prepaying or paying you up front before you even talk to them on the phone. And that is like, that's the upcoming masterclass that we're doing, like Idris and the pandemic masterclass. It's like really proving it. But your version of the offer treadmill is actually getting in touch with the clients and talking to them. So like, do you have like every 30 days you do like a customer research thing, or you're always talking to your clients, or how do you know that you're always staying on that cutting edge of solving their problems?
Always listening to them and always testing new iterations. So we basically evolved into a consulting agency that does done-for-you marketing. We still do done-for-you ads, no question. So we're constantly hearing from our doctors. So we coach the doctors. And I love the prepaid model, and that's definitely a huge thing. But what we got to understand, I want to almost take this all the way back, and I want to share why the local business marketing agency thing is such a struggle to keep the retention. What we've got to understand, and this is especially important if you're new and you haven't been around the block to see just how poorly these guys run businesses. And I mean that with the utmost respect, right? I'm not freaking God, but like what's happening is they think they want more water in the bucket. But what happens is when you pour more water in the bucket, it's literally just flooding everything else, and they're drowning. And you're literally murdering them by sending more leads. Yep. So the problem is almost never the leads. The problem is almost always their internal processes and what they've got going on. And that's why we have to keep doing more and more for them, right? Prepaying, getting the book, that's why these things are great. But we first got to understand why it's failing in the first place. And especially if you're doing Facebook ads, it's a cold lead. Nobody knows how to sell. And we've got to get them to realize that this is a real process. Take them down what the actual customer journey is. So one of the big things that we do that's changed everything is explaining to people the difference between a cold lead and a referral lead. You think that would be common sense, but it's not, right? I mean, how we get to a point where, and I don't know how deep I want to go on this, but like we actually coach them on their margins, on their profitability, on a lot of different stuff. I started coaching a doctor at one point last year, and we were looking at her package, and she was selling a $4,000 package, and she was losing money on. And I'm like, do you never really put this together? And this happens all the time, dude. They don't know their top end margins. They don't know their true margins. They don't know it. They just see revenue, and they don't know what's going on in between. They don't know how much casting, and they don't know how much anything is. So just understand that like the businesses that we're marketing for don't know anything about business.
So does that mean the vast majority of people are like, hey, I need marketing, I need more leads, are more like technicians that happen to own a business rather than like real life business owners? Is that correct?
100%. E-myth.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So like, if that's correct, and I'm saying that it is, right? Like if that's correct, then that means the value out of an agency isn't just the lead gen, but full on business consulting. Is that correct? And just lead gen is how you get them into your world. Is that right?
100%, man. If you want to keep people, if you don't want to hate your clients, I'm sure there's plenty of people on here who go through mega churn, who have gotten frustrated with clients. Let me know in the comments, or let me and Jeff know if you ever had a client that you sent a bunch of leads to and then blamed you for poor quality leads. Just
Yep.
that. When you secret shop them and they literally just don't even call the lead or don't pick up, or Becky hangs up on them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
By the way, if you're not secret shopping your clients, secret shop all your clients. Get the ammo ahead of time, because they never want to believe that Becky or their wife is the worst part of their business. That's the worst. When the wife handles the leads, look out, because then you're like causing rifts in the relationship. And it's bad, right? We've had so many front desks just fired. So anyways, the key here, if we want to really take a different position on the marketplace and stop this dislike, right? Because we're in a situation where if you've been in the game long enough, you start to grow really, I don't say loathsome, but it can be very tiring to deal with clients. There was a point in mid-2018, as I brought up earlier, we went after remodelers for a minute, where I was so sick of the doctors and so sick of, like, you guys don't get it. Like, you just got to call the lead. Like, come on, bro. You just call the lead. But we rechanged everything. In early 2019, I coached a dozen doctors, saw just how broken their processes were, and all over the country. And since then, I've been able to either coach people or coach in a bunch of other industries, or continue talking to people myself. All of them are broken.
Yeah.
If sub $5 million, sub $2 million, business is broken. Just know that. In regards to the sales process, they might be able to fulfill really good, but their process is broken. So being able to become like a growth partner is absolutely critical, because differentiate you from the lead generators that are out there. Because when you're a lead generator, and that's a lot of people in here right now, and that's okay. I was too. Well, we all were, right? We're in a race to the bottom right now, because someone's going to come in and do it for $500, and then they're going to do it for $300. And really what's going to happen is everyone's going to be pushed out of business, and your margins are going to be gone, because the person who's doing it at $500 can't profitably scale it past $50K a month, because he doesn't understand the margins when it actually has to grow up. There's a great book called, I think it's like Bigger Margins. Oh boy, I gotta get it. Oh man, there's a great book, Bigger Margins, something like that. I'll have to look it up afterwards. They talk about how when you're in a price war and other people are comparing their pricing to you, most people price themselves out of the market. That's why most businesses fail, because they think, oh, well, XYZ is doing it at this margin, I need to do it too. And it's like, no, you don't understand. XYZ is 6 months away from going bankrupt because they can't afford to do it, or it's going to be one solo guy who's going to give himself a aneurysm trying to handle all this himself and never hire help. Right? Only a matter of time. And most of us, when we get started, and this is not anything against anything, but we only think about short term. We don't play the long term game, and that's okay. Especially if you need to get money and cash on the table, like that's good. Go out and get the cash, right? But I want to share a little bit about the long term of the market, because the other thing is saturation, right? Everyone's worried about that. Well, your saturation is if you don't have a unique twist or unique offer on the market, and you really help people out. And as soon as your lead costs go up, which they will for a month, if you're only a lead generator, they're going to go find someone else who can do it cheaper. And that's the worst place to be.
Yep. So that's where you come in and you say, hey, we're not just a lead gen company, but we're a company that will stop no-shows. We're a company that increase your margins, increase the quality of your patients, and ultimately help you make more money. And that is more like chasing revenue instead of trying to lower costs. When that happens, people will pay you more money for more revenue, versus like, hey, I want to pay you less money for less cost kind of relationship, right?
Conversation changes. Completely different. People look at you differently. 100%. And some people who are just getting started be like, man, I don't know all these things. That's okay. I didn't know either, right? But you just want to evolve towards this. You need to ask specific questions to your clients, especially if they're smart clients, right? You're asking smart clients, what are your margins per patient? How much are you paying to fulfill? What's your typical overhead for nurse practitioners? And guess what? You get that information, you write it down, you regurgitate that on your next sales call. And to someone who's not as intelligent, they're going to be like, oh my God, he gets me. He gets me. You know what I mean? And it changes everything. The questions you ask and the way you run your qualifying call changes everything. And I'm going to say something right now.
Yeah.
Your retention is 95% determined by how you sell somebody and the demo that you give them. Now, obviously, you have to be in touch and get leads, but a majority of your attention is going to be all about your sales process. And most of us is like, oh, I'm going to get you 1 billion leads. We're going to make so much money. It's going to be awesome, right? No. Our process is like, you're barely going to make any money. Your business sucks. And now the way we get them to say their business sucks, we don't actually tell them. What we do is we ask them questions. I live by philosophy and a saying. Okay. I don't tell people that they need me. I ask them questions to get them to realize they need me.
Yep.
Start asking. I'll give you guys a couple good ones really quick. Okay. Next time you're on a call with like a doctor or something, put in there, what's your average response time to lead? Right. This is especially important when they say that, oh, I've tried 37 marketing companies in 6 months and they all suck. Okay. What was your average response time? What was your show rate? No show rate. What's your average CPA? When was the last time that you listened to your staff's phone calls and checked things out? Oh, really? Because I've heard that, I've literally what we've seen, this is true data. We've had hundreds of thousands of phone calls come to our agency. 60% last time we looked were unanswered during business hours.
No way, Nick. There's no way my business would ever do that.
Ever. You guys should also secret shop before your calls too. So secret shop someone so you've got ammo and you go into this. Because then you can just go ahead and assume that they're going to butcher it. And also understand what's good for scripting and testing things in your market as well. I understand it sounds like I'm sharing a lot here, but like I know that there's people out there who say that this is going to be like an easy push button, make $1 billion type business, but that's not, I haven't seen it. Show me, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not saying you can't get to a point where you have freedom and systems and a team and it can be very lucrative. Absolutely can be. But like, you got to understand this stuff,
So what's interesting is you were the first person that really broke my brain about paid ad client acquisition. Mm-hmm. And like up until then, it was just like organic or relationship or in-person events, which is my background. And the first person I paid money to just reinforce that. But you're the first person that was like, nah, ads, VSL, have a good time. And are you comfortable talking about like what makes such an ad VSL qualifying call work so well to establish like a long-term business relationship? Or is that something to keep just for like the Crusaders only?
Nah, man, let's talk about it for a minute. You know what I mean? It's there's a lot of intricacies, but here's the deal. If you want to have a much better time and you want to be able to consistently scale and grow and have much better positioning on your phone calls and much better conversations, learning how to run ads and pre-frame them ahead of time before they get on the call and already have some sort of belief and understanding of who you are completely changes the game.
Yep.
It forever blow my mind for people who are over 10K, 20K, 30K a month, right? If you're just getting started, I get it, especially if cash is tight. But if you're over 10K, 15K, 20K, and you're not running ads, it's like, well, we're telling our clients we need to run ads and pay to acquire clients. Why aren't we? What's going on there? And It's really not that hard. It is. You just need to have a good message. You just need to understand like how to take a unique offer and twist in your market. So I started running ads. So mid 2017, I've been getting a lot of our clients through the cold email and sending a video and a follow-up and all this type of stuff. And I knew nobody, approximately 0 people who were running ads to get their own inbound local agency clients at that point.
Yep.
And I had remembered telling myself, we're getting ready to hire a sales guy. And because I had done 50,000 or 40,000 cold calls or whatever, I think it's 50,000 over the 5 years in pro sports. And because I had done cold calls for other companies in the past, I was a debt collector for about 6 weeks at one point too. That was fun. I told myself that I was going to build the ultimate sales position. And I promised myself that I was going to do that. And in July of 2015, I made the biggest investment of my life at the time to a gentleman named Alex Becker, who will forever change my life in regards to all this. He was a big webinar guy. He didn't do agency stuff, but I followed his webinar stuff. I followed his VSL type stuff. And it wasn't at all for agency clients, but I kind of tweaked it and learned enough. And I kind of tweaked it from Russell Brunson. And I put up a webinar in October 2017. And I'll never forget when I started getting leads coming in because I never thought that there would be leads for it. And it's burned into my brain, medical webinar correct version. And SEMA for helping run the traffic on that. And that webinar, we had 15 people show up. I booked 9 appointments and I closed 5 clients the next week. And literally on the webinar, as the appointments are getting booked in, we have a screenshot of this. My business partner was watching it and I had my Facebook chat at the time still as notifications on the webinar screen. So the docs could see this. My partner's like, Nick just made us all rich. This is game over. They're coming through.
Thanks.
Running ads ever since. We spent $350,000 to acquire that $8 million in revenue. I don't really see any questions here, but I want to make sure it's clear. It's not $8 million a year in revenue. That's $8 million total over the last 4 years. I want to be very transparent. I hate when people market their numbers the wrong way. But we did 2.7 million or 2.8 million last year, and then through almost 3 million the year before. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I want to say that we're clear on that. And I've been running traffic ever since. And not only that, I've seen and worked with a lot of people to install this in every industry and market you can imagine. Super easy to start with lead ads, super simple. I ran a remodeler test to prove this to everyone. I'm like, this is easy. $331, 19 leads, 10 conversations, 6 qualifying calls, 4 demos, 2 clients at a time. Done. Easy.
Yep.
Anybody can do it. You just need to know a little bit about what you're gonna do, and it's just a confidence thing, man. It's understanding the numbers too, because another thing that I like to share is really understanding the math. Even big business owners. So Sema, for those who don't know her, she's my significant other. She runs an agency where she works with a lot of people in the info side. And in the past, and she's talked with people who just don't know the numbers, not any of her current clients or anything. But in the past, there's been clients that like just don't understand how the math works, and they'll want to turn something off way before it's it should be turned off. And let me give you an example of that. Last summer was one of the most profitable summers that we ever had at BTOP. And I was getting $231 in inbound schedule. Now, I sometimes see on people's feeds, they're talking about, oh, I'm getting client schedules for like $8 or $7. So they might turn off that $231 a schedule, right?
Yeah.
And so here's where it gets interesting though. That $231 a schedule, I spent $82,000 on, right? And that turned into $484,000 of front end new revenue. That's 4 to 1 on the front end. And that's assuming that nobody does anything after our 3-month contract ends, which we collected all up. So let me ask you, would you like to make that $340,000 and turn a $200 schedule off? Right? Like, it's just understanding math like that is something that it gets scary to go in the red a little bit or to not get it. But like, it's the key to everything and profitably growing, because you should be getting paid to acquire your clients. You know?
I remember the first mentor that I paid money to, they'd have like a Facebook ad leaderboard, like who get the cheapest leads. And I was always like dead last on that list. I was like paying $35 for a lead. And I was like, oh my God, everyone's getting like 30-cent leads. That must be horrible. Oh my God, they're so much richer than me. Of course, their leads are going to walk in the door like mine do, right? Nope. Right? Like super cheap, super low quality, just sign up, good luck, see you later, bye is entirely different than paying for a real life person to see your ad, click on it, go through an entire onboarding sequence, entire process, phone call check, VA check, and they walked in the door. So you end up, when you employ that philosophy, you are chasing revenue, as opposed to the other philosophy, which is you're chasing costs. And when you chase revenue, you always get paid more. And so what I'm understanding correctly, and maybe this is like really applying to everybody on here, with those numbers that you just suggested, most people will freak out because they'll have like 8 qualifying calls and 4 people will be a bad fit. They're like, oh my God, I'm a 50% failure. That's not how this math works, right? You have to have the qualifying calls to know who you should be talking to. And even if like you're a good salesperson, when you do like 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2 calls end up turning into a payment, right? Like something like that.
Yeah, probably less than that. I mean, of total leads, not including no-shows, because it can get dicey trying to how you calculate no-shows. About a 72% show rate if people want to see the numbers. But total leads, we're about 16% from schedule to actual close $10,000 deal.
So 1 out of 10 leads should pay you money. I think what most people are so fearful of is being that failure again and being that loser again. So looking at the 90% loss instead of looking at that like 16% win. And with my agency leads, I know like 1 out of 5 demos is going to close, right? I got to get through the 4 bad ones really first, and then we're going to close. And because I started taking that approach, and between your training, the other trainings that I've invested in, taken seriously, 1 out of, let me rephrase that. Every single week for 4 weeks in a row, I've closed a $2,000 client. And you helped me like do the tweaks and the identity shift. I was like, oh, that's so fucking smart. And now I'm on the phone with people that are saying like, yeah, so I saw your video. I understand how it works. That's what I want. I just want, 2 or 3 more questions and I'm ready to sign up. And that's a type of like sales conversation that you want. And that happens because in the VSL and in the qualifying calls, I'm not trying to make myself the expert. I'm just trying to identify problems in their business and say like, hey, I understand that your margins are like, 18, 19%. We've got 5 or 6 other niche specific clients not too far from you that have 40 to 50% margins. Are you interested in moving that number in the right direction? Right? Now I'm not trying to push leads. Now I'm customizing my offer to fix their business problems. And honestly, like if the guy like makes twice as much money, he's going to keep paying me. We're going to send more leads that are worth 10 times as much. I think that's about what you're talking about, right?
100%, man. It changes the whole conversation. If you are a lead generator, unless you're an expert at pay-per-leads, which is its own model and its own self, and I know people who do very well in that, and I wouldn't recommend that model personally, but I could be slightly biased. I don't know. I think it's a tough business to get in. When you talk to people about their margins and you start asking questions and realize how broken things are and opening up new ideas, changes everything. On our pitch deck, on our demo, there's 1 slide that has pictures of the ads. The rest of it's all about the process and the journey and closing patients and all this stuff.
Yeah.
What's fine about it, right? Now, depending on what you can offer, you might change it up a little bit, but that's the thing. And it's exactly what you're saying here. Hey, I can help you get your margins better. Nobody's talking about that. Because here's the thing, guys, most businesses think that some magical unicorn lead is going to save their life, and it's not. And it's not going to save yours either, honestly. So depending on what other people said, like, it's just good fundamentals, knowing the market that you're going after and really understanding how to psychologically sell them is the absolute key, you know?
The mistake that I've seen a lot of people make is they get niche fear and niche regret. And like what I'm trying to do is just expertise by doing. Like you get better at basketball by playing basketball. It's really, really hard to be a basketball expert by reading it, right? So like, is that your similar philosophy, or are there like industry specific books that you tried to go through? You just said like, hey, let's just talk to more people and find the pattern so I'm better at the next sales call.
I'm all about jumping in. At the time that I went to coach, that I reached out to about a dozen of our doctors. Again, we've been doing a couple $1 million for a year. I was doing just fine. And we could have had a team member do that. I could have, tried to send someone else. I didn't particularly want to spend 12 hours a week talking to doctors, again, digging in about their process. But that's exactly how I learned. That's how I learned to set up how they answered the phones, how they trained their front staff, how much they paid people, what their margins were, where their vendors went from, how they typically walked. Like, here's the little things that nobody thinks about, right, when it comes to marketing. And this is where you're sending your leads to. And this is, I'll give you a great stat on this, okay? So there's a stat that goes out when you walk into a doctor's office. You know how there's usually a window over there, right, where you have it open it up and there's a door that people can walk around and all that. They did crazy numbers on this. And they found that there's 3 different ways that offices typically handle that. Number 1, Betsy, who's angry and pissed, sits behind the counter and just calls you up, hey, here, fill this out. Doesn't stand up, doesn't do anything. And then when it's your turn, she says, Daryl, time to go on back, right, or whatever your name is, right? So that's option number 1, and that's a lot of people, more than we'd like to admit. The next option is Betsy comes in and she's nice enough and she smiles, and then when it's your turn, she at least walks to the door, opens the door, and says, hey, Sally, will you come on back? Okay, that's option number 2. And now here's option number 3. Okay, and I learned this from Dan Kennedy, by the way, and everyone should be studying Dan Kennedy. Option number 3 is Betsy, not only does she greet them, she fills them out, she walks out and brings them the paperwork when they walk in, make them walk through, right? And then when it's their time to come, she'll actually walk out of the office door, come out, shake their hand, so great to meet you, and then walk them back. And that little, like 20 steps can increase conversions by 25% with all those things being equal. Literally just that. And no one else thinks about, what about your office tours? How are you taking around the office? Are you pre-selling for medical offices specifically, right? And they have this type of stuff in every market. I just happen to know the medical industry. Yeah. Are they pre-selling people on the tour? How are they showing? What rooms are they showing people? Or are they just putting people in a dark room and letting them hang out for 20 minutes, not telling them when they're going to come back?
And they're getting pissed and angry for no reason because nobody's talking to them in a corner. Yeah.
Family medicine doctors are the worst at this. Like, you walk into you just don't know, is anyone going to help me? Like, what's going on here? Do you think that puts people in a mood to buy and give cash services? Hell no. The only reason it works for family medicine doctors is because there's no other fucking choice, and you don't want to go down the road and find someone else for your insurance. But when you're selling cash services or integrated medical or med spas, like, nobody's thinking about these things. This is the same thing that goes for HVAC services, in-home services. How are your guys dressed? How are they showing up to the house? Do you have salespeople, or are you having your technicians try and sell people, right? What's going on with that side of things? All these little things is where the biggest wins can come in. You combine that with the ability to run ads, the ability to get them online, ability to put good leads in the door. You get so much better.
So you just hinted at something massively powerful, which I think I just call like the client academy, because the mistake everybody makes is saying, I just run lead gen and service. You actually run a business consulting company that happens to get people in the door with lead gen, right? So you have like a client academy or a coaching program that your clients are part of, right? So like when they're paying for it, it's not just for leads, but it's business structuring to have those types of conversations and knowledge transfer, right? So like, can you go into that? Like what does that mean for somebody who's never seen it or experienced it, right?
Absolutely. And I think this is really the new model. And I think this is where we're going to need to evolve to, on top of continuing to get better ads in the front end, booking, that type of stuff. But basically, we've got clinic directors who coach. We've got a Facebook group. We've got Q&A calls every single week. We've got a community. We've got people who are together. We've got things where they can come in and learn and grow and talk to other people in their marketplace and their niche. Built a big moat around our business, right? I can talk about this because it's not quite so simple to just go out and do. If your business is something that and again, this is where everyone has to get started. I know there's a lot of people just getting started, so I don't want to hurt anyone in here. I'm just telling you what you need to evolve into, or what you need to be thinking to evolve into. You don't have to do things a specific way. But understand that if you get to a point where you just have an ad and a landing page, and that's all you got, like, it's very easy for someone to come in and outbeat you on that. Very easy. So you want to be thinking about a moat the entire time. Right now, I got a giant moat around our business. It would be very difficult to duplicate what we do without knowing the specific steps and processes we took to get there. Right. And so that's what I mean by consulting. And we sell that. We sell that as part of our front end. Because what a lot of people do, we actually made this mistake 2 years ago when we first tried to put staff training together, was we put together staff training, but it really wasn't very good. It was kind of based on what we thought about it. Kind of hinted at it on the sales process, but it wasn't really sold. And nobody watched it, right? And some of you guys might have been attempting some of the things I'm talking about here, but you've got to sell it hard. And the only way you can do that is by asking them questions that cause them a ton of pain on the front end and get them excited about actually going through and watching it. Because when you're selling a doctor or any business owner, the last thing they want to do is sit down and go through a bunch of hours of training and all that stuff. We have to make it uber important and dangle a big hook for them in order to do it.
Yeah. So if I understand correctly, you actually have a coaching program.
Yes.
Lead gen gets them in the coaching program. You got business consultants, you got coaches and all that. So does that mean that, like, let's just say you have like a bad, I don't know, March or whatever. Your client isn't going to drop you because you had a bad March. They've got all this other stuff going on. They're going, all right, so leads are down, whatever. I still got my weekly coaching calls. I'm still figuring out how to fire Betsy. You're still doing the qualifiers. You're still doing blah, blah, blah. You're still doing all the other stuff, right?
Absolutely. And it's because we coached them on also understanding the math and the numbers, and that Facebook goes up and down, and that leads can go up and down, and that not everything is some magical unicorn. One of the first videos you haven't watched is a video I put together where I'm kind of borderline mean. I'm usually a really nice guy. You've been around me. I'm a pretty nice guy. I feel like, anyways. I don't know. I don't really get mad very much, but I put this video together when I was pissed. The people inside the Crusader programs have seen this one, but it's called The Myth of Lead Quality. Have you seen that one? I don't know if you ever watched that one I put together. Yet. It's called The Myth of Lead Quality. And it basically just berates people for saying and blaming marketers for them being the problem. This is like the first video they watch when they come into the program, right? And it's just like, this sucks. And it really is. It's all about the identity shift. You brought it up earlier, and we haven't really talked about it. And I don't know if we'll have time in this call, but like what it does is it's talking about how 7-figure practice owners and business owners view leads versus everybody else. Yeah. And if they're not a 7-figure practice owner, my goal is to try and place that identity of a 7-figure practice owner inside of their head. And in order to do that, more leads isn't what's going to get them there. That's not their problem. Their problem is how they view the leads. Their problem is thinking that, if they get 2, 3, 4, 5 bad leads in a row, that all the leads suck and they're going to give up. Their problem is thinking that there's some magical unicorn out there. Their problem is not knowing their profit profitability. Their problem is not knowing the margins, all that type of stuff, right? Yeah. And I think that this can sound a little advanced for some people. I really want to let you guys know that this is like, you learn these things as you go along. The key is to pay attention, ask questions, and really get started, right? Because you're going to easily be able to go out and get a couple clients if you know the type of customers they want, just by running your typical cold email, LinkedIn stuff. What I'm talking here is building a company that lasts and having long-term retention that's more than 3 months, 2 months. We doubled our retention rate last year, in turn doubled our profits.
Yep.
Because in late 2018, I sat down with my business partner and he said something to me that forever can change my world. And it's why I had the energy and wanted to go out and coach these doctors at the beginning of 2019. He said, Nick, if we had kept each client that we sold in 2018 2 months longer, we would have made an extra $701,000 in our pockets. And that would be profit, bottom line. And I was just like, because we sold like 160 clients, because I'm really good at selling shit, right? And putting funnels and all that. So then I'm like, okay, we got to resell everything. In 2019, now we've got a $3,500 setup fee, and we've got we sell long-term contracts, and we got people and hooks, all those things that we had to evolve into. And it's a much better relationship with the client as well. And I'll give you a quick example of what you just said, right? One of the things that we want to do is attach money to meeting with us before our leads turn on. Right. And there's several ways that we're able to do that. Maybe it's a reactivation campaign. The best one is when they take our sales scripts, and we've got testimonials of people doing this. They'll take our sales scripts, they'll implement it on either organic traffic or leads that are already walking in the door. And then they'll make a post in the Facebook group like, I just made $8,000 using your script verbatim. And we have testimonials of this. You think that person sees us only as a lead generator now? No, now they've attached the $8,000 to us just for freaking giving them script.
Yeah.
So the more that we can attach value to people, and I'm about to share something that I normally only share with my mastermind people, and it's going to sound very simple, but I implore all of you to never forget this, okay? It's not about your product. It's not about your product or how good your product is, okay? It's about how people use your product and how they feel about your product. That's all that matters. You can send them the best leads in the world. If Betsy at the front desk doesn't pick up the leads, doesn't matter. So they're not using it. So forced adoption, forced results are huge. But also how they feel about it's important. Because guess what? You could get somebody, put a comment in the chat, and Jeff, you can let me know how many times you got somebody 10-1 and all of a sudden they wanted 20-1 and they're pissed.
Yeah.
Right? They leave. It's insane. And so that's how they feel about your product. So if your expectations are different, how they feel about it is bad.
Yeah.
And this even goes, and I could talk forever on this whole statement, but just it's how people, it's not about your product. It's how people use your product and how they feel about it. I'm going to give one last example of this, okay? We have literally ran into situations where we send too many leads to the office. And here's what happens when you send too many leads to an office, okay? The doc doesn't realize that Betsy is not calling all 110 leads. And so what he's seeing is like maybe 8 to 10 people show up on this type of stuff. And in his head now, there's 100 leads. Betsy didn't follow up with any of them, right? Only 8 people showed up. And then maybe he ran into one that had Medicaid. And then all of a sudden, all the leads suck. All of them. You know, that's exactly how it works. So you can overwhelm, you can literally send too many leads to an office. And then how they feel about your product, oh, I don't want to have to sort through all the leads. It's too much work. So again, their feelings go down in the product. People don't buy things logically, ever. Nobody. Not you, not me, nobody. It's always emotionally. So if you're not paying attention to the emotions of how people feel about your product, then you're in for a long one. It's something to be aware of. And I get it, you guys are new and a lot of people in that, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, this is just part of like someone's journey. Just for everybody watching this, like, oh my God, there's so much. Yeah, man, this is 4 years summarized in less than 60 minutes, right? Like there's no way you're going to keep up. I get it. Just, it's like a taste of what's down the line. But something that you mentioned super massively powerful, and people are going to sleep on this. Something that I took from you when you and I got on the phone, you're like, you need a cash campaign. And that's exactly what you mentioned with like the script, right? And Frank Kern has one, you have one, I have one, Dan Kennedy has one. It's like how you get your client like immediate fast results, a domino effect to make them say, like, all right, it's worth paying you again, completing those payments, signing on for the next month, the next month, the next month. I instituted that in my sales deck, and 2 people bought. They're like, I like that. Yeah, I like that idea. I was like, great. When we start working together, that's the first thing you get access to. You got it, right? It's really not that hard. But having like a cash campaign that gets them an immediate win, gets them, guess what, feeling a whole lot better. Like a whole lot better versus just a normal lead gen company. Most businesses are actually incurring an obligation. I've got to call everybody back. I've got to yell at my front desk. I've got to sort and deal with. So what you're doing is you're giving them a reason to not renew, because I've got 100 leads. I haven't called everybody back yet. So like, I can't take on more leads. Oh my God, this is horrible. Versus like giving someone the opportunity to make an F ton of money quickly. Like, okay, I want more of this. And now they're open to the idea of working with you again, open to the idea of taking the next step. And if you've got your client academy, which is what I'm building up for my niche now, you don't have to guide them through the next step. Step number 1, use these scripts. Step number 2, now that you've used these scripts, you can call people back with this. Step number 3, and now your client is like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And the reason why they feel that is because you simply talked to everyone in their industry, found out the problems, and built out a coaching program or client academy that solves that consistently and repeatedly and reliably. It's not hard if you know what to do, right?
It's not. It really isn't. It's just following a standard process. And I want to give a little bit of insight, and I think this is going to be really valuable for everybody. And I know that I have a tendency to throw a lot on people, so I know that there's been a lot that's gone on here. I hope you get a couple takeaways with everybody. But look at other industries and what they're doing. So where I got from is I started looking at what are the best coaching programs doing? What are the best consulting people doing? How are they keeping stuff in? You know, I've learned from guys like Becker and Sam Ovens and Hermosi and all these guys, right? Look at what other industries are doing. Nobody's really doing that. And you can really learn so much. And I'll give one other thing where people can get quick wins outside of a reactivation campaign, because I think a lot of people know about that. If you teach people a referral process, you can get immediate wins on that, on their people that are coming in. If you say, hey, send a direct mail piece to 50 of your best clients at home, let them know what's going on, easy win, right? Teach them how to quickly do an upsell while they're there. One thing that most prospects in any business don't know how to do is cross-sell or upsell. So understand what other services they can do and teach them how to package those services together. And again, this doesn't matter what industry you're in, and all that. And the biggest thing is, you guys, I highly recommend, I think that this is big. Understand marketing, understand margins, understand conversions, understand sales. You got to go in on that. Be careful trying to outsource everything you do. Do I think that you should be setting up Facebook ad campaigns when you got 30 clients? Absolutely not. But I think you should be able to go in there and maybe help lead some coffee. Yeah, probably. You know, it's it's going to save your ass a lot if you know how to sell and you know marketing, you know business margins. Because what you start to see is all the industries are the same. They're literally the same. There's intricacies are slightly different. Maybe you drive to a service call, maybe you come into an office, but like everything virtually operates the same.
Yep.
For local businesses. Now, 10 million plus corporations, different. Okay, I'm talking local business, sub $10 million a year companies. They all operate basically the same. And when you know that, you start to learn so much about business, and you can just go in there with confidence and solve problems for people, you know, because they're all so freaking broken.
It's so amazing. Like in my industry, I've done maybe 30 qualifying calls, which is really not that much. That's just one a day, every day for a month. By the fourth qualifying call, I had already a good idea of what his answers were. By the 10th qualifying call, I was telling him what his answers should be, right? And what's funny is that, like, if down the line somebody cancels for whatever reason, I can fix that and pre-conquer that objection in the onboarding call or in the qualifying call document, ask a very specific question, makes you like, I need to fix that in my business. So Mr. Johnson, like, how many of your customers are buying more than one product? What do you mean, Jeff? Well, every other client industry niche that I've talked to that's massively successful, that has 10 to 15,000 customers every single month, they've got cross-selling. Do you have something like that in your business? Oh, no idea. If we had that and we built it out, would you make more money if we worked together? Oh, that would be amazing.
Game over. Different conversation. Talking to him about marketing. That's like really learning marketing. I know a lot of people got started with a lot of courses that said put up an ad and you're going to get rich overnight. And that's fine. You can get started with it, no question. And I'm glad they brought you into an amazing world, because this is like the greatest business ever. I'm obsessed with agencies. I'm obsessed with marketing. I'm obsessed with all this stuff because there's so much opportunity as well. As the market starts to open up again, like, we have an even bigger pool to play with people who don't know what's going on online, because all the people who refused to go online before are now going to be going online.
Yep.
So there's huge opportunity and wave coming in. So if you fear saturation, I promise you there's no saturation. And I can give you an exact reason why. One, does your niche need more customers? Yes, they probably do. Number two, is the problem solved? No, it's definitely not. So if the problem is solved and they still need it, it's still an opportunity, right? And you want to go after a market where frankly, I think people confuse the blue ocean stuff sometimes about niches. And I know a lot of people struggle to dial down in a niche. And they think that we're going to find this magical untapped niche that nobody's working in. It's like, dude, you don't even want that. What you want is to find an opportunity in a niche. Okay, it can be a red ocean, but you want to find a unique spin on that red ocean in order to get them to come in and join you by your new opportunity, the new way you're selling things, by fighting against everything else.
Yeah.
For the last years, I've been throwing rocks at Facebook ads agencies all day, and my sales process is everywhere. No shows, no leads, even though I run Facebook ads.
Yep.
I mean, like, but it's because of how I position myself, right?
Yeah.
The offer and positioning is so unique as well. So yeah, man, I could talk forever and stuff. I love it.
So if I understand correctly, if your brand is going, God, the market is saturated, it's because you're probably not competitive enough. You probably don't have something unique enough, and you're probably not solving a consistent problem worth solving. You're probably just coming with the same old stuff when you need to come in with something either better or with the unique spin that makes somebody say, hey, I'm now paying attention. Is that correct?
Or a slight unique twist on it.
Yeah.
To get you hyaluronic acid patients instead of I'm going to get you this type of customers. Hey, I'm going to get you hot water heater clients, or hey, I'm going to get you VA refi. That could be I don't know specifically for your market, but a unique twist to catch their attention with the hook. And then when you give them the story and the offer and you give them the pitch, walking them down a unique way of telling them things, asking them questions like we've been talking about this from a more business consultant type role, right? That'll change it. And here's the other reason why you think everything's saturated, guys. It's a little thing called confirmation bias. It's very difficult for us to let go of it, but what happens is, especially if you're in a group like this, you're probably in 25 other groups like this. You're probably in the ClickFunnels community. You're probably in this. And all you see when you scroll down your feed is other agency owners and agency this and agency that. And I'm getting rich and he's rich. And oh man, I'm envious of him. Shut off your social media.
Yep.
Seriously, it'll change your life. Okay. Especially if you're somebody who wastes time on there. And it's hard. Don't get me wrong. We've got a lot of really talented people who are trying to keep us addicted to it. They spend billions of dollars on this. So it's okay if you've got problems here. But if you start feeling envious or like there's no opportunity or I promise you, most people have never even heard of Russell Brunson still or ClickFunnels, and he's $1 billion company. I literally just got off a call with someone who had never heard the name Russell Brunson. Okay, and he has an agency that's doing 30 to 60K a month, depending on the month. Well, COVID came, and he was in 6K a month before that. Right? So understand the market's a lot bigger than what we see here.
One of my clients, that's like, he's got like two objections, like how fast can we start and when can I pay you money? Those are like the best objections ever, right? Like he has a ClickFunnels landing page and he's like, yeah, I have a funnel, but I don't know what that means, but I want more customers. Like imagine if I had that confirmation bias, be like, oh God, he already has a funnel. He's already in ClickFunnels. Oh my God, he doesn't care, like at all, right?
Problem solved. They just want the problem solved. That's all anybody wants. Like literally, just look for the problems to solve, guys. Like I know that getting new customers is a problem, but what is specifically about getting a new customer is there a problem? Like I love looking for problems in every piece of the process. Every piece. And if you can solve that, you're going to make it easier for the next person. And you brought up a great point as well. When you lose a client, figure out why you lost them and then fix it next time. Offboarding surveys, exit surveys are fantastic. You want to get feedback. What could I have done better? Because remember, it's not about your product. It's about how people feel about your product and use your product.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Well, Nick Robbins, always an absolute pleasure. Nick Robbins, based out of Boca Raton, B-Top local, really like changing an agency world for the better. I don't know when we're going to meet up again because of Corona, but dude, we're definitely going to have to sync up because like every time I hang out with you, I learn something new and then I go do it and it works. I'm like, oh my God, Nick, it fucking worked. It's like, oh my God. Right. But yeah, absolute pleasure having you on the show. We're going to bring the sector to a close, but before we do, is there like one thing that it's like, hey, just, ignore everything else for the next like week or two and just focus on this one thing to help somebody who's brand new or part of the butt group and like, hey, do this and you'll make progress and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's two. I'm going to give two things because one's going to have to do with your life and one's going to have to do with your focus. Number one, turn off everything. I challenge you for 1 week to not be on social media unless it's directly DMing people or directly using it for social reach outreach. Plan your days the night before and see what you can actually work. Start tracking yourself. Most people are not doing anything remotely productive during the day and all over the place, and our focus, we're like neurotic freaks just bouncing around. So at least turn off your social media, turn off the news for 1 week, okay? And just commit to doing all the prospecting methods you can do for this specific week, just 1 week, okay?
Yeah.
Just Monday through Friday. Let's just do it 5 days, right? And see how hard it is to not be on social media and scroll it and all those things. You think you're working when you're learning, when you're not. No, just go out and test something and do it. The only way you'll ever get anywhere is through action, and execution is the cure-all of everything. Execution above all else. Knowledge is not power. It's potential power. Execution is power, okay? Execution trumps everything, all right? And then the other thing, really like think about the questions you're gonna ask your prospect and seek to understand and to learn this week. Don't seek to sell. Try and, if you're in a tough spot, otherwise, do your best to not attach outcome to it. There's a whole conversation on that, but seek to understand and learn about your market and your prospect. What are the big problems? What do you really want into? What is going on here? And watch the conversation change as well. The things you're going to go into.
Absolutely fantastic. Don't hang up. We're going to debrief. Everyone, Nick Robbins, B-Top local. Everyone, see you guys later. Bye.
Guys.